friends, this video on wave optics part 12 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Please make sure that you have watched all the videos till part 11 before going ahead with part 12. We will now talk about superposition of waves. It is another important concept which is going to be of great significance when we study about Young's double slit experiment. Well, Young's double slit experiment is an experimental setup which told us that light is of wave nature, and it also explained a very beautiful phenomenon known as interference of light. Now, in order to understand this interference of light, it is very important that you understand what is superposition of waves. So, what is superposition of waves? Superposition is something which we have studied in many of our previous chapters. Superposition means when something overlaps with something else, then what happens? It is a very famous principle, that is the superposition principle. It tells that whenever two things comes together, they get added up and form the resultant. So when we talk about superposition of waves, we mean the resultant displacement produced by a number of waves is the vector sum of displacements produced by each of them. That means if we have two different waves, those two different waves can add up to form a single wave whose displacement is equal to the vector sum of the displacement produced by each of them. This is known as the superposition of waves. Now, there are two kinds of superposition which is possible. One is constructive overlap, where you have two waves which overlap constructively. That means high plus high gives higher. It is something like that. So when I talk about constructive overlap, I mean two crests join together to give a bigger crest. Similarly, two troughs join together to give a bigger trough. This is known as constructive overlap. That means, why it is known as constructive? Because two things added up to form something better. So that is constructive. We say many times we say that, okay, this is a constructive verb. That means you are building up something, you are constructing something. So here also, if you see, when two waves join together, they are building up something better. So this is known as constructive overlap. Now, constructive overlap is possible with waves in phase. That means if both the waves are in phase, only then constructive overlap is possible. The other one is destructive overlap. That means if two waves are out of phase, for example, if this plus this join together, it will form nil. There will be no wave at all, because one high and one low will cancel out each other. Similarly, one low plus one high will cancel out each other. So that means two waves which are out of phase, when they overlap destructively. That means they cancel out each other and the result is zero. Right? So these are the two major kinds of superposition which is observed. So that is what is, so now you understand what is superposition. Here if you see, two waves are superposing with each other to form the resultant wave. Here also two waves are superposing on each other to give the resultant wave. Right? So this is known as superposition of waves. So now we will try to understand the constructive overlap and the destructive overlap in detail, and we will also try to see the mathematical aspect of these. So let us look at the first case, which is a scenario of constructive overlap. Let us suppose that I have two sources, S1 and S2. See, it is always better to visualize situations considering the same example, that is when you throw a stone in water, right? So the point where the stone strikes the water, that is your source, right? So let us suppose if you have two sources, S1 and S2. Here I have represented in the form of a diagram. So this is how the wave fronts will be formed. Now if you look at it, the wave fronts of S1 and S2 will overlap with each other, right? Now this overlap can be a constructive overlap. This overlap can also be a destructive overlap, right? So both the possibilities are possible. So right now we don't know whether it is a constructive overlap or a destructive overlap. Let us suppose I choose one point P, any point P in this surrounding. Say this point P is somewhere here. And I say that I want to calculate that what would be the intensity of the disturbance at point P. Now here we are considering these as disturbance because we are considering water. Let us suppose that instead of the water disturbance, this S1 and S2 are two sources of light. So that means both of them will emit light waves, right? And those light waves again will overlap with each other, right? So I want to find out the intensity of light at point P such that the distance of point P from S1 and S2 are same. That means in the problem it is given that we have two sources, S1, S2. We want to find intensity at point P such that S1P is equal to S2P. So we have selected one point P which is at equal distance from both the sources, and we want to find out the intensity at point P due to the light waves emitted from the two sources S1 and S2, right? So how do we do this? Let us suppose that the light wave emitted by source S1 is represented by this equation, which is y1 is equal to A cos omega t, where A is nothing but the amplitude of the wave, y is nothing but it represents the displacement of the wave, and cos omega t represents its phase, right? Similarly, the wave coming out from S2 is represented as A cos omega t. Now we are assuming that S1 and S2 are two coherent sources, right? So they are emitting light waves which are in the same phase and which have same frequency. So here in this case we have also considered that the amplitude of the two waves are same. So what would be the resultant wave? That means what would be the wave that will be formed due to superposition of these two waves? That will be nothing but vector addition of y1 and y2. So that will be equal to 2a cos omega t. Right? So this would be the resultant amplitude or the resultant displacement due to the superposition of the waves coming out from S1 and S2. Now, what about intensity? We know that intensity is always proportional to the square of amplitude. So what would be the intensity in this case? In this case, if you see, let us suppose the intensity corresponding to this before was I naught. So what would be the intensity? So I naught was proportional to A square, right? Now in this case, what would be the intensity? Intensity will be proportional to, here amplitude is 2A. So intensity will be proportional to 2A whole square. So we can say intensity will be proportional to 4A square. What is A square? A square is nothing but I naught. So we can say intensity is equal to 4 I naught. Right? So that means the intensity at point B will be 4 times the intensity at any of these sources. Right? So you understood what happened? How did the overlap took place? So that means what is the result? The result is that the resultant intensity is higher than the individual intensity. So that means this is a constructive overlap, because in constructive overlap what happens? You build up something. So the net result increases. So here also the intensity is increasing. The amplitude has also increased, right? So this is a scenario of constructive overlap. So that means if we find out the intensity at a point which is equidistant from both the sources, that means in this case, another point to be noted here is, here the path difference. This is a new term which is introduced here and it will be used quite often now. Path difference means the difference in the paths from both the sources to a particular point. So here path difference is nothing but S2P minus S1P, which is equal to 0. So that means path difference is 0 because both the paths are equal, right? So when path difference is equal to 0, you have constructive overlap and the intensity becomes 4 times the individual intensity, right? Let us look at the second case where we assume that we have the same setup. We have two sources which are emitting light waves. They are coherent sources and we want to find out the intensity at some point Q.
So we have now changed the point. We have taken some other point Q such that now in this case we say that S1Q minus S2Q is equal to 2 lambda. So here this is my condition. In the previous case my condition was that S1P minus S2P is equal to 0. That is both were same. But here we say that S1Q, that means the distance of the point Q from S1 is greater than the distance of the point from S2. Right? So we say that and this difference is equal to 2 lambda. We have taken this 2 lambda just for an example. What we are trying to say is if the difference is an integral multiple of lambda. So for an example we have taken that integral multiple as 2. So from this what can you say? This says that the waves originating, since S1Q is greater, that means S1Q is greater than S2Q. That means waves originating from S1 will have to travel a greater path than the waves originating from S2. So that means the waves originating from S1 will take more time to reach Q. So that means the waves originating from S2 will reach Q early. Therefore, waves from S2 will reach exactly 2 cycles earlier than waves from S1. Understand this statement properly. This statement tells us what do we understand by this. If the path difference is 2 lambda, that means since this path from S2 is smaller, so this is smaller, so waves from this will have to travel lesser distance, so the waves from S2 will reach early. So how much early will the waves from S2 reach than S1? How much early? By 2 lambda. 1 lambda represents what? 1 lambda represents 1 cycle, because if you remember a wave, what is 1 cycle? This is 1 cycle. And what is lambda? Lambda is nothing but this distance. So that means 1 cycle corresponds to 1 lambda. So when I say that the path difference is 2 lambda, that means it is corresponding to 2 cycles. That means if this is S2, then what would be S1? S1 will reach little late. So S1 will be behind S2. So when S1 is here, S2 will be here. So S2 will be 2 cycles behind S1. Right? So this is what this statement depicts. Now in this case again, let us try to calculate the resultant displacement and the resultant intensity at point Q. So now the question is, if we want to find out the intensity at such a point where which is not equidistant from both the sources and the difference between or the path difference is 2 lambda, in that case how will the intensity be affected? So here again y1 we say is a cos omega t and y2 in this case would be a cos. In this case there will be a phase difference, because here you see since there is a path difference, this is how the waves will be. So that means there is a phase difference also involved. So what would be the phase difference? Let us calculate that. A path difference of lambda, when we talk about a path difference of lambda, it corresponds to how much phase difference? A lambda corresponds to a 2 pi, because in one cycle you have 2 pi. So lambda corresponds to 2 pi. So when I talk about 2 lambda, it corresponds to 4 pi. Right? So that means a path difference of 2 lambda corresponds to a phase difference of 4 pi. So we will say that y2 will be equal to a cos omega t minus 4 pi. Right? So now what is this? Cos omega t minus 4 pi is nothing but cos omega t. So we can say that y1 and y2 are in phase. Even though this 4 pi phase difference was involved, but cos omega t minus 4 pi is nothing but a cos omega t. That means both of them are in phase. y1 and y2 are in phase. Therefore, what would be the resultant? It will be y1 plus y2, which is equal to 2a cos omega t, which is similar to the previous situation. That means whether the path difference is 0 or the path difference is an integral multiple of lambda, the resultant intensity at the point will remain the same. Right? So even in this case, I becomes equal to 4I naught. Right? So now here you might think that why are we considering the amplitudes as same? Because we are assuming that both the sources are situated very nearby, and we assume that the light waves coming from both of them will have the same amplitude. Right? So what did we observe so far? We observed that constructive overlap happens when the path difference is 0 and when the path difference is an integral multiple of lambda. Right? So the one condition of constructive overlap is path difference 0. The second one is path difference integral multiple of lambda. So in this case, path difference is equal to n lambda. Right? So where n can be anything, n can be 0, 1, 2 and so on. When n is equal to 0, your path difference becomes equal to 0 and it becomes similar to case 1. Now let us look at the third case where we say that the path difference is equal to minus 2.5 lambda. That means here we say that S1R, here we have taken the point as R. So S1R minus S2R is equal to minus 2.5 lambda. So what does this mean? This means that S2R minus S1R is equal to 2.5 lambda. So what does this mean? This means that the waves from S1 will reach exactly 2.5 cycles earlier than S2. Right? That is what it means. Now here instead of 2 cycles we have 2.5 cycles. That means it is a non-integral multiple of lambda. So if y1 is equal to a cos omega t, what would be y2? Y2 would be a cos omega t minus the phase difference. Now for a path difference of lambda, you have a phase difference of 2 pi. So for a path difference of 2.5 lambda, the phase difference would be 5 pi. Right? So this will be equal to omega t minus 5 pi. Now what is omega t minus 5 pi? This would be nothing but minus, in this case this would be minus of minus pi, because you have minus 2.5 lambda, right? Y2 in this case is minus 2.5 lambda. So this will correspond to minus 5 pi. So this will be a cos omega t plus 5 pi, which comes out to be minus a cos omega t. Therefore, what would be the resultant displacement? It will be y1 plus y2, which is equal to a cos omega t minus a cos omega t, which comes out to be 0. Therefore, the resultant intensity will also be equal to 0. That means when the path difference is non-integral multiple, path difference is non-integral multiple of lambda, in that case destructive overlap take place and the resultant intensity at the point is 0. So that means whether a constructive overlap or a destructive overlap will take place, that will depend upon the path difference. And what is path difference? It is the difference in paths from the two sources to the specified point where we want to calculate the intensity. Now, depending upon constructive and destructive overlap, the intensity is evaluated and also the phase difference, right? So here please understand that how do we calculate the phase difference. I hope that is clear to you. Once you know the path difference, you can calculate the phase difference in this fashion. A path difference of lambda corresponds to 2 pi, therefore a phase difference of 2.5 lambda will correspond to a phase difference of 5 pi. Right? So this is all about superposition of waves, including constructive overlap and destructive overlap. So let us summarize this. In this case, the path difference is n plus 1 by 2 lambda. That is non-integral multiple of lambda.
Thank you. Please visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thank you once again.